Well, welcome to the Debt Matters podcast, where we help Canadians find solutions to their debt with licensed insolvency trustees from across Canada. I'm Wayne Kay, and in today's show, we're going to be talking about technology and money. And my guest today is Marriott from Allen Marshall and Associates, licensed insolvency trustee with offices in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and a new office in Alberta. Marriott, thanks very much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure, Wayne. I'm very excited to be here.
Great to have you back. We had a wonderful discussion last time you were on, and now technology and money. I'm looking forward to learning here when it comes to that. When you're talking about technology, are we just talking about like online banking?
No, so much more than that. So, online banking is one of the ways, but there's just so many apps and there's so many programs and there's so many things that you can utilize these days and simplify your systems and enhance your systems, that it definitely goes way beyond just banking.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to learning about some of these ways that we can use technology to save money in our everyday tasks. Where would you like to start with that?
Well, I think I'd start by taking us on a little trip into the past when we used to clip coupons, and maybe that extreme couponing show that some of us used to watch in the U.S. and people would come out with carts full of stuff and not pay a cent, and we tried to figure out how we could do that. Does that take you back?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the good news is that you don't really need to clip coupons these days, although they are still available, but everything is available online. So, there's so many different ways, from online coupons to cashback programs with credit cards, apps that you can use. You can upload receipts and get money back. So that's kind of reverse couponing. And then, of course, online banking, no fee banking. I know I just threw a whole bunch out there. So you let me know where you want me to go with this.
Well, I have my cards for the odd time when I go to the grocery store, and I'll use the little card that my wife tells me I have to use because she gets points.
I would hope my husband's listening to this because he refuses to do that.
What? You're lying.
Yes.
I didn't think that was even an option. I always do it.
He won't use a points card. So if I do combine it in the credit card, I can get him to do it that way. But he's not holding people up to use a points card. That is what I was told.
Oh, okay. I get you. That makes sense. Maybe it's a man thing. We don't like holding people up. I get it. What is it we're supposed to use then?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. And, there was kind of a lot there to unpack. But, so let's talk about points, because I think that's a real common one that most people, understand and do and have some kind of points card, right? So stacking points is a great way that you can save money. So what I mean by that, I'll use my own example. So I collect PC points for free groceries. And I have that linked to my MasterCard when I get gas. So now I get PC points with MasterCard for gas. And because I'm using the proper credit card, I also get more points because I'm using that branded card. So that's just an example of how you would just take one thing like PC points and you would layer it in a few different ways. So you get more, pun intended, bang for your buck.
Okay. Okay, I like this. So in your eyes, then it's a good idea to actually have the credit card, because I've noticed that you get maybe 3.5 cents or maybe it's 2.5 cents if you just use the card, but if you use their credit card, you get way more points.
Yes. Now I'm going to add, and this is this is my phrase. This is what I use all the time. So there is a thin line between financial strategy and financial disaster. So if you know that you are not a good credit card user and you are going to use it and you are going to run up a balance, then you have defeated the purpose, because now you are paying for those points. So yes, I do recommend it if you know that you are going to use it and pay it off in full every month. But the minute you start carrying balances, you're basically depleting the benefit.
Okay. So you have to be very, very aware of that. But I think there's some stores where you can even put it on your credit card and then walk over to customer service and pay for it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a great way to do it. If, again, if you're looking to pay your card off in full, it's absolutely a great way. Put a purchase on. In fact, that's what I do. I have kind of a grocery fund, but I use my credit card for points. And then basically when I get home or, wherever, I just transfer over the payment on the credit card right away.
Now, is there a danger of spending more in a grocery store by using the points because you're thinking, well, I'm going to get more points, but I'm spending more money?
Yes, there is. I'm glad you mentioned that because again, that kind of goes, to psychology and absolutely. And, one of the other things that I had mentioned was cashback apps, and you can upload receipts. There's different ways that you can do that as well. And what they do is they post on these apps, these, specials of the week. So if you buy this and this and this, and you can get, 25 cents back or 10 cents back. Well, if it's not something you buy and use anyway, you're really not getting any value. So you really want to ensure that you're buying stuff you would buy anyway and not things that are out of the ordinary just so you can get cash back.
Mm-hmm. So these cashback apps, how do they work?
Yeah, there's a few different ways that you can do that. And so some of the apps I use just to share, and there's various ones, but Flip is an app I use, FLIPP, and it's more of a shop around app. So it has all the flyers in it. And for example, if I'm going to buy butter, I put butter in and it will bring up where butter is on sale at all of the stores or the price in all the stores. And I can figure out where it's on sale and I can decide that that's where I'm going to shop. Now, to that point, don't go driving around to 7 different stores, not with the price of gas today, because again, you're not going to save money. So you have to be smart about this.
I had no idea. I thought I was doing really well because I actually have a little shopping list thing now on my phone. I was excited with that, saying, but at least I can say butter into my phone instead of having my little sticky notes on my phone.
I have that too, but I do use apps as well. And another one is Checkout 51 and Cattle are a couple that I have on my phone. I just brought my phone up as we're chatting. And what they allow me to do is go in and upload my receipt for certain things that I buy, and they put cash into the app, which then I can cash out. So that's another example of a way that you can do that. Receipt Hog is another one. I mean, there's so many, you can kind of get lost in it.
Really?
But what I usually recommend just, find one, play with it, see how it works for you. And, I've cashed out, $20 here, $30 there. I think, my PC points equates to somewhere around $200 a year in free groceries. I usually bank them and use them at Christmas time.
Is this my wife on the other line? Are you pranking me? 'Cause that's exactly what she does. Same thing.
Is that what she does?
Absolutely. Saves it up for, Christmas time.
Yeah, I do. Our big seafood chowder, pretty much we get to do it for free every Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another great one. So you're a big fan then of using these technologies. I love this. Are there ways to increase your earnings using this technology? Like you mentioning that one app and using the points. Is there other things you can do?
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of that as well. So absolutely with the one with receipts, because you get the money back and it kind of banks it for you. It's not really increasing your earnings per se, but it kind of feels like it is because it's, you're getting that money banked and it's in there. There's some that you can use cash back. Again, it's, it's money back on what you're spending, but it feels like earnings. So I'll just say that. Mystery shops, there's a way that you can use technology to increase your earnings. There's various mystery shops online. You can sign up for them. You go out and buy something. You submit an evaluation and you get paid to do that. Plus you get free product. And let's not forget selling online. I mean, you can sell anything, anywhere pretty much now. So that's a great way to bring in extra cash flow using today's technology through, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, or whatever the local provincial place might be.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable the stuff people sell.
Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah. And buy. And it's crazy. I almost go there before I go anywhere else now just to see if I can get it. I'm amazed at how often I can.
Really? And then you're saving money.
And I'm saving money. I'm a big fan of saving money.
And last time you were on, we were talking about spending plans instead of budgeting, and it was just so much more powerful. When it comes to these technologies and these apps, is there something that kind of fits into that spending plan as well, so that you're keeping track of, okay, I've spent this much on gas, I've spent this much on groceries,
Oh yes, I'm so glad you mentioned. How did I not mention that? I'm like the poster child for tracking expenses. So, yeah, absolutely. Again, lots of apps out there. A huge fan of tracking expenses. Information is power, and so really, if you're wanting to change your financial situation, you need to know what you're dealing with, and in order to know what you're dealing with, you need to track where your money goes so you can make good, conscious decisions about changing it. And so Mint is the program that I've used for many years, MINT. And I use that one because you link all your accounts to it. So if you're someone with multiple bank accounts, credit card, lines of credit, they all go to one place. Whereas if you deal with one specific bank, typically you can use their tracking program and do it that way. But yeah, nowadays you don't have to keep receipts and add them up. There's so many ways that you can do that online, and the information is at your fingertips.
I think my wife is going to love this. I can't wait to share this with her. I think it's a great tip because it's not something that we typically did. We did it the old-fashioned way years ago when we wanted to find out exactly what was coming in, what was going out. We did it the old-fashioned, just write it down on paper of how much money was being spent. And I got to tell you, we were shocked at how much money we were spending on lunches every month.
Yeah, it's an eye-opener. And, I'll tell you that the app is great for couples as well, especially if they don't combine their banking, because you can set both the accounts for both people up to this one account. And then each person can log in. You can do it on the computer. You can do it on your app. It's very convenient for multi-people using it together.
Okay. I think I've got another topic for you regarding fees. We pay subscription fees for this and for that, and everything is we're being $6 to death, I say.
We sure are.
Do you have some advice on that?
Yeah, stop doing it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, one is that we forget what we have. So I think this goes back to tracking and being aware. And so certainly making a list of all of the subscriptions you have. So if you were doing a spending plan, one of the items might be subscriptions, and then you would actually list them out with the amounts you pay and when they come due. And the reason that I wanted to mention that is because a lot of times we'll take advantage of the free offer. And then, a month later or 2 months or 3 months, it comes up. We don't pay attention. We forget. And all of a sudden we get billed again. So setting reminders so that you can cancel after the free offer if that's your intention. And just looking for ways to streamline it. I mean, I'm thinking of, Netflix and Crave and Amazon Prime and, all the different places that we can watch TV, Disney. I mean, do you really need all of them? So maybe sign up for one. Do that one for a year, then sign up for the other one, do that one for a year. So it's not like you're missing out. You're just delaying what you're watching by a few months.
That's great advice. I do that with Apple. I'll wait until I know there's a bunch of shows that I want to see, and then I'll sign up and watch it for 2 months and then cancel it.
Yeah, because we're too complacent, right? We just do it and it's there and it seems like too much work. But, when you have a spending plan, you're really looking at where your money goes and you're setting your priorities. All those, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, well, $20 now because they're all going up, those $10 or $20 a month. I mean, they add up and they take money away from something that's probably way more important.
Well, when we look at the finances of Canadians and how much people spend now that we didn't have to spend, and I'm not going to make myself sound old here, but pre-cell phones, I mean, pre-2000, 2005, before that time, we didn't have to spend $100 on a cell phone per person in their house, which let's say you got mom, dad, and 2 teenagers. That could easily be close to $300 a month. No exaggeration, right? And then all of a sudden you've got internet fees, which oftentimes can be $80, $90 a month. You add that on, all of a sudden, just like that, and let's throw in some Netflix, Crave, and Apple, we're at $450 a month of fees that didn't exist in 2000.
Yeah, I'm wanting to cry right now. Thanks for that, Wayne. No, I mean, I'm so with you on that. I've been in this industry a long time, and I remember, going through budgets with people because I called it that. I called them back then. So I remember going through their budgets and saying, what do you spend on this and that? And a phone would be $35 a month, and then let's flash forward. Like if it's under 200, it's a shocker. Like it's just crazy. So, if those things are important to you, then, absolutely you're going to want to find ways to counteract the cost of them, and just simple things like, calling around, price comparison, switching providers and, just the stuff we said. You don't have to have everything all at once, stagger it out so that you still have variety, but you're not paying $60, $70 a month for, 3-4 subscriptions that you've got going constantly.
Well, and I think the reason I bring that up is because sometimes we wonder, why is it so much more difficult now? And that's the way. I mean, you can't really live without a cell phone.
Yes. Yeah. And internet. I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
We just don't, it just doesn't work without it. So you have to make room for those in your plan.
Yes. Okay. What's your final words of advice regarding this? Because you've had some wonderful tips for us.
Oh, well, and I just, before I give you that, and maybe this is my final advice, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to, no fee banking. I just want to throw that one out there.
Let's talk about that. So when you talk about no fee banking, because I think for my bank, I have to have I don't know, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, I don't know what it is. And then I think I don't get charge fees at that point. But when you talk about fee.
So good luck with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So which ones are you talking about?
So no fee. Well, that's one way to do it. So if you do carry a certain amount, absolutely. And some people don't even know that. So check with your bank and see what it is. It could be an incentive to have those savings. A lot of people don't know that if you have various products with a bank, they will give you a break on your bank fee, but not necessarily unless you ask. So, ask and see. And then I'm talking about the, online virtual no fee banks. So, Simply PC Financial, Tangerine, those are some of the ones here in Canada, and there are no bank fees. So in previous podcasts we talked about simplifying your banking system and having 3 different bank accounts. Well, your spending account, a no fee bank account, is a really great option for that. So you can just e-transfer your spending in. I call it your virtual wallet. That's what you spend out of. You don't have to keep an eye on the other accounts, and there's no fee. So typically you can reduce your bank fees at your main bank because you only have so many transactions coming out of that account now. You're not spending out of it. So just one of the overlooked areas that I wanted to highlight.
Mm-hmm. So as my son is now moving out, going into his whole world, he does not have a student bank account anymore. So now all of a sudden he's going to have to start paying fees. This is the advice for you, is that you can still have the main account, but then have one of these virtual online banks.
Yeah. And you know what? Kids don't need brick and mortar. So I'll even offer on that. My son's in the same position. He's 20. He opened a Coho account. And there's a couple of things I really like about that. It's easy. It's online. They get cash back. But more recently, he and I have been looking at his credit rating and credit score. And I want him to have one, and a good one, so that he doesn't have to rely on mom when the time comes. And so Coho has a really cool program, a credit establishment program. It's $7 a month for 6 months, and it helps them get on the map with their credit score. So that is another really cool way that you can leverage technology and one of these accounts to really position yourself financially as you start to step out in the world.
Oh my goodness. We could just keep talking for another hour for sure. We've got so much to dive into. I hope you'll come back again.
I will. We have to talk about credit bureaus and credit ratings now, because I broached the topic. So I think really my last words are, don't get complacent. I think that's really key. As we get complacent, we have these bank fees, we have these subscription fees, we pay prices, and we don't necessarily get cash back or not clip coupons, but online coupons. Just take some time. It doesn't have to be a big onerous task, but just look at what's happening and get creative and find some solutions. And even if you save $1 here and $2 there and $3 there and $5 there, $10, $20, $30 a month adds up.
I got to tell you this. One of my coworkers came to work. He stopped buying coffee every morning. And he walked in the other day and he put his hands in the air and he said, I've saved, I don't think it was like $60. I bought 3 records. Right.
Ah, love it.
Right. He didn't spend it on that. He was able to buy something now that he can use and enjoy. And I think that's fitting to end off this podcast right along with what you're saying.
Absolutely. I love that.
So, Rivik, Marianne, thanks very much again for being on the show.
It was my pleasure. Thanks, Wayne.
You got it. My guest today, Marianne Marriott from Allen Marshall and Associates, licensed insolvency trustee. If you want to learn more, maybe you want to schedule a free consultation with Allen Marshall and Associates, you can head over to their website at wecanhelp.ca. And that is it for another edition of Debt Matters Podcast. Just make sure you subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts from. And of course, for more information, you can always check out our site, debtmatters.ca. Thanks so much for listening.